Hello all, and welcome to an overview of shots by Cameron Laudenslager. Unfortunately, I lack the means and the time required to make a fully fleshed out video with shots that I've collected myself, so what better than to demonstrate a collection of shots than from the greatest television show of all time, Stranger Things. Specifically the pilot, which starts off with a grand pan down from the stars, a la Star Wars, onto the quiet little pedestrian town of Hawkins, Indiana. The very first shot of the entire series is an establishing shot. Here, the subject, usually a location, is presented in a way that allows the watcher to familiarize themselves with the setting of the scene. In this case, Hawkins, Indiana, yes, but more specifically the Department of Energy building at night. Later on, we see the boys playing Dungeons & Dragons. And when Will accidentally rolls the die off the table, we are treated with a nice wide shot. This shot portrays multiple things. We see Lucas, Will, and Mike scramble to find the missing dice, while Dustin paces back and forth, obviously alarmed. We get a clear look at the stairs, establishing for the first time that we are in a basement. We see the table with the D&D campaign, and even a pizza box and Coca-Cola cans on the bench to the side, showing an extended elapsed time the boys have spent down here. This shot is interspersed with close-ups of Dustin in rapid succession to accentuate his panicked state. Mike is taken upstairs by his mother, and we see a sequence of back and forth over-the-shoulder shots and reverse shots which act as two sides of a conversation. The scene cuts back and forth as the two argue over the length of the boys' campaign and how late it is. As the camera is focused on Mike, we even see what we assume is Mike's father in the background, messing around with the antenna of his TV set, further establishing the 1980s setting and aesthetic.
Dumb piece of junk.
The boys leave, and Will heads home alone, but is chased by some sort of monster. He calls for his mom and his brother Jonathan, but to no avail. As the monster chasing him attempts to enter the house, we see one of my favorite shots of the episode. This close-up shot shows the lock on Will's door slide open by itself. The slow pan upward creates an extremely ominous feeling, and the noises in the background help establish the monster as the culprit, giving him some sort of psychokinetic abilities. Fast forward past the title sequence, we get introduced to Hopper. This shot is great. We see Hopper's house sits on the water, and as it pans, we get a medium shot that shows us a lot about Hopper's character. Fresh out of bed, the first thing Hopper does is light a cigarette. He is also shirtless, less than in shape, and sleeps in his jeans, which are currently unbuttoned and unzipped. A gracious warrior. He takes in the scenery as he starts his day. Fast forward again, we see a series of two shots here as we enter the school. Mike's sister Nancy is walking down the hall, books in her hand, with what we can assume is a friend. Best friend even, considering this is the first person we see Nancy interact with. We also see a two-shot in the bathroom with Nancy and Steve. I could go on and on about this show, but I'm running out of time as it is. Here's a couple more noteworthy ones. We see a low-angle shot as Hopper investigates the buyer's house, as well as an over-the-shoulder shot as he enters the shack. Here's a really good close-up that shows a wizard fighting the Demogorgon. This shot is also foreshadowing. The wizard represents Will as he took on the Demogorgon in real life as well. And finally, we see back and forth mid-shots at the very end that act as a sort of double reveal. Not only are the boys discovering Eleven, but Eleven is discovering them.